Hey, Lions fans, Mark Willoughby, voice of Southeastern Lions football here, coming to you with Fall 2025 Camp Update number 1. This is a segment we're going to try to bring to you from time to time as we head through the next 4 weeks of fall camp leading up to the season opener at Louisiana Tech in Ruston on August 30th. Well, today was day number 1. Team reported yesterday afternoon and hit the ground running at 9 a.m. this morning with split practices. Which, if you're familiar with Frank Selfo and his tenure, likes to split the practices up those first few days to allow the newcomers and especially the freshmen, guys who haven't been here, allow them a chance to get more reps early and hopefully help catch them up because it's a 4-week fall camp. Seems like a long time, but at a certain point, you got to get those starters ready to go. And if those guys fall behind too early, it gives them a better chance to compete if they can get those early reps. Not a lot to report from really a meat and potato standpoint on day 1. It's shorts and headgear and a lot of acclimation going on. But this team, the one thing you do want to look for as far as a benchmark is what does the team look like on day 1? What were they doing in the offseason? Do they have a good off-season program? Do they transition well out of the spring? And again, in today's NIL and transfer portal, you don't know who's going to be on your roster from one semester to the next. And this team basically did a great job retaining players. You did lose a couple of pieces over the semester break back in between fall and spring semester. Antonio Martin moved on. You lost Riley Callahan. But overall, this team was able to retain the bulk of what they've been able to build the last few years. You've added a lot of pieces to it. The spring went well. It transitioned over the summer. Outstanding summer program. This team reported in shape, physicality, just the twitch is pretty evident across the board on both sides of the ball. And that's the thing that I look for is, what does this team look like on day 1? Because the playoff teams in the past, go back to 21 and 22, 2019 before that, and you go back even into the Ron Roberts era when they made the playoffs in 13 and 14, those teams were on a mission. You could tell what those teams looked like. That team had a chance to make the playoffs, and this team has that look. I thought last year had that look. This team even more so, and that's got me excited. I know that, and that's why we want to bring these updates to you, let you know what's going on. There'll be a lot of storylines in this fall camp. Obviously, the quarterback position with Eli Sawyer moving on. You bring in a couple of transfers. Carson Camp, who was a starter at the University of South Dakota, then was at Sacramento State before an injury. Landed him here at Southeastern. Very talented young man. Also, Kyle Lowe, who has spent time at 2 FBS programs. He's a young player, but he's got a pedigree, grandson of Woodrow Lowe that played in the NFL for a long time. Had a great career with the San Diego Chargers, University of Alabama fame. His brother played at Southern Miss and also West Virginia before that. So he's from a football family. So those two will be your primary competitors for the starting quarterback position, it looks like. But you got a true freshman in Connor Nelson, who was the Alabama High School Athlete of the Year in the entire state of Alabama. A very talented young man. Where he factors in, we'll have to see, but certainly has talent. And then Tanner Murray returns, who saw some playing time last year in a backup role. So that'll be your quarterback position competition. Turn to the running back, you lose Antonio Martin, but this looks like this is going to be a running back by committee situation. Rodeo Graham returns. DeAndre Jackson, the Jet, who was here 2 years ago, showed some explosiveness. Transferred out to Copiah Lincoln, comes back, and looks like he's going to be that home run threat, or has a chance to be, that we thought he would be coming out of Carr High School. And then you bring in a couple of newcomers. You got a true freshman, C.J. Smith, from right down the road in Hahnville. Is a big physical runner in the mold of an Antonio Martin. And then you bring in Jaden Henry from Valdosta State and Colgate. He's another guy that'll come in and compete in that running back room. So it looks like that's going to be a solid position for the Southeastern Lions. Maybe not the one big heavy yardage producer and an Antonio Martin, but I think collectively it's going to be a very productive position. Shift out to wide receiver. That's a position that really needed to upgrade, and I think it has. They've gone out, brought in a lot of numbers in the transfer portal. And you look around, there's a lot of athleticism, some guys that can go get it. There's some length, there's some size, some smaller guys that in the mold of a Darius Lewis. So I think collectively that's going to be a much stronger position. I think offensive line's in great hands. A.J. Hopp, who was here for 7 years as the offensive line coach, has moved on. You bring in Sam Gregg from Southern Mississippi. It looks like that position is going to hopefully not miss a beat. You return a lot of veterans, especially in the interior of your offensive line at center and your two guard positions. And then there's some guys that have just been in the program that have grown up that I think are going to be very productive players. So I look for the offensive line to kind of pick up where it's left off. And then the tight end position I really like. You got Cade Collier back. Aiden Wilkinson looks like he's taken a step forward. And then you got a couple of guys that are going to be intriguing younger players. Bo Perez is a guy who walked on here as a quarterback and has converted to tight end. He looks like he's going to have a chance to get on the field at some point. And then Lonnie Shen is a very talented, very twitchy, athletic, big guy, high school player. So I think between all those guys, you're going to have a productive tight end position. So that's your offensive side of the ball. We'll quickly switch over to the defensive side. To me, this has a chance to be as good a Southeastern defense as we've had here, certainly under Frank Selfo, but going back to 2014 and 15 in the Ron Roberts era. And just really the biggest thing that I like is just a ton of veterans on this team. Some guys that played a lot of football, that have been good football players. You're solid at every position, up front, linebacker, secondary. You've got guys that'll run and hit. You get guys that can rush the passer, stop the run. And I think just collectively, and then you got a defensive coordinator in Bill DeTavio who's been here. This will be his fourth season, and that's not been the case here. We had a run there for I don't know how many years in a row where you're turning over defensive coordinators. So these guys have finally had a chance to have some stability under one roof on the defensive side of the ball, hearing the same voice all the time. And again, familiarity with the defense is huge, especially in today's college football, where you have so much going on in terms of the offenses are so sophisticated. Just the language you speak, just the confusion that's caused when you have a lot of turnover. And this team has a lot of veterans coming back, with the coaching staff coming back, and I just think this has a chance to be a really good defensive football team, and I'll allow that offense a chance to come together under Anthony Selfo, and I think the offense is going to be much improved. Then you turn to special teams. Again, Ross Jenkins has done a magnificent job with the special teams unit over his tenure here at Southeastern. He's back in his 8th year, and you've got Alec Mahler back, who averaged over 45 yards a punt last year. You bring in an All-American kicker in Guillermo Garcia Rodriguez, who is going to replace Riley Callahan. It may be an upgrade, and we all know how good Riley was. So the kicking game is going to be solid. Your coverage units are going to be very good. Return units. You do lose Darius Lewis. You're going to have to replace him as a punt returner, but there are going to be plenty of candidates. And the Southeastern is going to have a good punt returner. It's just kind of in the DNA here. So I'm very excited. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. The schedule's difficult in spots. Especially late in the year when you got to go on the road 3 weeks in a row at Lamar, UIW, and then you come home and play Nichols. That's going to be a stretch run in the conference. It's going to be tough. And, of course, you got 2 FBS and Louisiana Tech and LSU. But this is a team I think is going to be built for the long run and have a chance to get back to the FCS playoffs. So we'll keep bringing you these updates throughout fall camp. Stay right here and stay tuned on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network, and we'll see you with the next one.